So just to warn everybody, I'm a bit full of flu here,
Yeah,
and that's my voice is a little bit raspy.
yeah. Don't
But
get
let's
too
get
close
on
to
with
the
it.
screen.
I'm a, I'm a, yes, I'm a slave to the cause. So here we are.
Yes.
In the heart of the very popular region of culture and traditions in London, known for Jack the Ripper, the Grey Twins,
Mm,
and the birth of so many genuine Cockneys, Chas and Dave,
yeah.
right? um, and everything that went with it in Whitechapel,
Mm,
a phenomenon was shown itself which might be rendered all of the above redundant. Right? The main language spoken in the area is not English anymore, so no more Cockney rhyming slang.
yes.
Right?
Mm,
Um, it isn't even a dialect of English, and this is laid bare by the Kobe Nazrul Primary School. It's just the name of the school might give you a hint.
yes.
Kobe Nazrul, he was a poet
Mm,
and a philosopher from Bangladesh.
yeah.
So anyway, Kobe Nazrul Primary School, where uniquely, as of yet, is the only school in the UK where it's 243 students. None of them speak English as a first language, right?
Yeah.
Uh, as the name of the school suggests, the vast majority of the school's alumni speak Bengali,
Mm,
225 of them. Bengali is the
yeah.
language of Bangladesh.
Yeah.
Then we go four Arabic, four Urdu, two Indonesian, two Italian, two Turkish, and one each for Albanian, Algerian, Moroccan, and Somali.
Mm,
The Algerian and Moroccan, they speak Arabic, but they're specific
yeah.
dialect.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Now it must be said that the school has a good rating with Ofsted
Mm,
in general. So the kids are growing up intelligent.
yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And it isn't clear if the children came to the UK after they'd learned to talk in their native tongues,
Mm,
uh, in their own lands,
yes.
abroad,
Yeah. Yeah.
or if some of them were born in the UK and
Mm,
just learned to speak in their parents' mother tongue at home.
mm,
You know, just as you'd speak with your daughter in English.
yeah. I do. Yeah. My wife speaks. Yeah. Portuguese.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
so they. But either way, if the school is anything to measure the depth of the water, there won't be a lot of English spoken in public in that neck of the woods. As just as you and I might have studied French or German, these young learners are being taught English. At the end of the street in is the East London Mosque,
Mm,
one of the largest in Europe, which can hold 7,000 worshippers
mm,
uh, for prayers.
yeah.
The parents like the school and say their children are well catered for by the education establishment, headed by an Australian headmistress. So it doesn't seem to be a great deal of Englishness from the school.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Yes.
I digress. After a 2021
Mm,
census, sorry, it was discovered that 51.3% of Whitechapel's residents
mm,
came from an Asian background.
mm,
So over half, just over half.
yeah.
From the late 19th century
Mm,
uh, to the late 20th century, Whitechapel was the home of a large Jewish community.
mm,
And in the 60s, the Bangladeshi immigrants chose the neighborhood as their next place to live. So no more traditional spit and sawdust pubs, pie and mash shops. Now the space is taken over by kebab shops, Islamic cafes, and Muslim clothes shops.
yeah.
Palestinian flags are flown or painted on walls, and some public notices are in English and Bengali.
Mm,
Right? The only parallel to this I could think of is in the Algarve when the English took over the Algarve as their
yeah.
uh, um, retirement homes.
Mm,
And they had all these streets, not only in Portuguese but in English to cater for the English.
yeah.
But anyway, Mayu Islam, who owns a money transfer business, said that when he arrived in the 1980s, there were still some born and bred Cockney families in the
Mm,
area, but they have all but died or left the area.
mm,
So there's
yeah,
no more Cockneys in the area to speak of. So no more pearly kings and queens. No more my old man's a dustbin.
yeah, yeah,
No more ragbone men clip clopping through the streets.
yeah.
He did. He said Whitechapel is the very heartland of the Bangladeshi community in London, but lamented on the overcrowding because of sheer numbers of people making the streets more dirty. Also, the younger generation is more belligerent, appearing much more arrogant and entitled. Drug dealers are commonplace, and open cannabis use is not rare.
Mm,
Here's a name for you: Mohammed Saududdin,
mm,
a local halal butcher,
yeah.
said that most of the people came from the same place in Bangladesh.
Mm,
He claims that 90% are from the town of Sylhet. He said it's a home from home in Whitechapel. So are all these people trying to make Whitechapel the same as Sylhet in Bangladesh?
yeah. Okay.
So basically, you've wiped out uh, a part of London tradition
Mm,
and community. Now, to be fair,
mm,
all these Bangladeshis that have arrived, all these Asians,
yeah.
51% of them, if they have children born in the sound of Bow Bells,
Mm,
then technically they are Cockneys too.
yeah.
But I don't hear them singing Chas and Dave all that much,
Bit
you know.
interesting. Yeah.
I really don't see them taking on any of the traditions, you know, eating jellied eels and
Mm,
all these things that we've come to hear about. I've never been an expert on London. I'll be quite honest with you.
yeah.
But what I've heard, with all the little traditions and the little back alleys, and all these sort of things, but it seems that all that's going to be gone now. And if you do have all the back alley things, it's all going to be Bangladeshi.
Mm,
So there you are.
right. Yeah, interestingly enough, I was talking to someone the other day about it, and I did a virtual tour around it on Google Maps.
Yep.
If yeah, because you can walk, you do walk down the street or you push down the street, and yeah,
Yep.
I mean, I used to work around there, yeah, quite recently, around well, about uh, probably be 15 years ago, something like that. Yeah, well, probably just before that. Yeah, and it was changing then, obviously. It's quite, I wouldn't say surprising, when you look at it now, because you could see it coming in then. Yeah, it's certainly in a rapid rise now. I mean, yes, it was notable for the foundry along that road, where they made the famous Big Ben, with the Bell foundry is now closed. Yeah, just as a side there. But yeah, that's more or less a derelict shop now. It's a shame. It was always a place of interest. Not saying that's anyone's fault, because there's not a big demand for bells. Yeah, but when you look at it, all the shops are named certainly non-traditional British names. Yeah, I'm not saying anything wrong in that. People are entitled to have their own traditions if they're here legally and doing things. Yeah, I mean, yes, you do walk around the area, and with all due respect to anyone there, yeah, I am probably, I could walk down the street and be the only, I don't like to talk like this, white person there, as it were. Or yeah, I'm not saying it intimidates me. I mean, for the most part, I mean, it's always been a rough area. Years ago, it's always been a bit of a rough area. When you talk about the 60s, the 50s, even the 40s, it was always in Sherlock Holmes. There was a line, always carry a firearm east of Aldgate. and this place is east of Aldgate. So yeah, we're going back over, yeah, probably a century and a half almost, and it was always a rough area. Um, yeah, it's certainly interesting when you look at it now. When I must admit, when I lived in London, I used to say I like it because of the diversity, but the diversity is increased, but it's not diverse anymore. If you understand what I mean by that, it is, as you say, one culture that is predominantly there. I mean, it's one area of London. Maybe you can argue it's not um yeah, you go other parts of London and yeah, different other places. Probably South London's more Jamaican type or Caribbean. Um, Other parts of London have different things. I mean, you go to Hampstead, you got a lot of other people, yeah, millionaires from other parts of the world. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm just worried about the loss of tradition
yeah,
more
um,
than anything else. I don't care who lives there.
yeah,
I'm just, it's a little bit like, Abbey Road,
yes, yeah. I know
right?
Abbey Road well.
Well,
I used
and
to live
so
down the road through.
people that
Yeah,
go there, and even
yeah,
though even though the zebra crossing is slightly in a different place,
mm,
but you get people going across the zebra crossing, taking the photos, and wanting to
yeah,
go into the of it. If they decided to make Abbey Road Studios into a department store,
mm.
then you'd lose a whole
Cult,
generations,
yeah, because it
plural
come.
generations
I
of
was, I think,
history of
yeah,
musical hit.
yeah. I mean, I think they call it cultural references or something like this, but it's yeah, it's. I believe the building's actually protected to a
Well, if the
point.
English lose their cultural references,
Mm.
what's left for them?
Yeah,
When they become a little orphan.
but no, yeah. Um, we are, yeah. I mean, this is it. I mean, I don't know what well, what the answer is. I mean, you do have that. It's the other side of it all. I mean, there's a library that caters for the whole community and possibly has history books in there. Um,
All in Bengali.
Possibly. I don't know. I've not been in it. I just know it's there. Um, I've driven past it a few times. I mean, the old London Hospital is now which is a fine piece of architecture, if you're talking about references, but it's now the council offices. So it's been repurposed building and historic traditional building being repurposed. I know what you're saying, but on the
It's
ground
popular,
level, yeah, you
popular culture and traditions.
yeah.
Popular culture.
I mean, we
If
talk
we
about
don't have
spit,
any,
yeah, we talk about spit and sawdust. Um, bars or pubs. The Blind Beggar's still there, famous for the Grey murder. A notorious thing to do, but yeah. As far as I know, it's still there, and I don't know. I've not been in there. Um, Not for a long while anyway. Um, it's, but I do know what you mean. Yes, we are losing identity. Um, and but that's inevitable. That is an inevitable consequence of people, like you said, it happened in the Algarve when the British moved there. The place, whatever. Well, we know Portuguese identity is slightly different from British
yeah.
identity. It's not
What did
Europe.
what did what did the Portuguese government do in that case? They demanded that all the English references were
Mm,
taken away. And they said the prime minister at the time, he said, "We are Portuguese,
mm.
so we speak Portuguese."
Well, yeah, and um, I must admit, I mean, when I've walked around the area and people do speak English very well. Yeah, it's not as though they're struggling with the English. That includes the younger people, and certainly some of the older people do struggle sometimes. But yeah, certainly there's a lot of the shopkeepers and people like that, and big stalls. I mean, what's strange now, which I don't know if it's always been like that, but now you've got on the pavement sidewalk to the Americans, you've got loads and loads of stalls. Yeah, like we have here in Brazil. Um, that I don't remember being about there many years ago, but somebody might be correcting me. Yeah, there's always been markets, but these seem to be every day. I don't know if that's a new feature or not. I mean, I don't come from there. My parents came from that area, or my father did, not too
Well,
far away.
Bangladesh has always been
Yeah,
small businessmen flogging their wares.
yeah,
It's all based around sales. And so imagine if they got stalls,
mm.
then there's just small businessmen flogging their wares.
Yeah. I mean, it's all done legally. It's out there.
Without doubt.
I won't comment. These people are hardworking people. Have no
Yeah,
doubts about that.
I'm
And
not doubting
I
it.
know that's the main. That's not the main thrust of this. Yeah, it's very difficult if you bring or allow, as you said, people to come in. They're inevitably going to bring their culture with them. And
Yeah, of course they are. Right.
if they're going to move to a specific area, that is what their culture is. Now, certain cultures assimilate easier into what, okay, I'm going to use it as an example, into the British culture than others. For example, the Jamaicans, the British have actually, to a certain point, adopted some of the Jamaican culture and ideas, yeah, in the music and everything else. Um, I mean, in the East London, yeah, it's famous for its curries. Okay, you get Bangladeshi food. I mean, you go to that particular place in Whitechapel, yes, it's all Bangladeshi type restaurants. Yeah. You go down a bit further down the road, Brick Lane, it's Indian restaurants.
Where's the
Um,
chippies? Where's the pie and mash? Where's the,
I
you
really
know?
don't, I can't recall seeing one in
Yeah, well,
recent times down there. I mean,
you see, I think that yeah, I understand what you're saying that all these different
mm,
nationalities are bringing a little soupçon
yeah,
of their
yeah,
culture
mm,
to the UK. Even I use French there because I'm sure
yeah.
the French do as
Well,
well,
we've always yanked
right?
French words into our language, yes.
But what I don't see
Yeah.
is the people who are responsible for the British culture, like the
Mm,
government, for example, the British identity.
mm,
They say they want to protect the British people,
mm,
but and they should do something
mm,
to guarantee their British way of life. Because as I
yeah.
read in the article,
Mm,
the guy said that that the all the original Cockneys
mm,
when he arrived,
mm.
had either dived off or they moved out.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of the time they can't afford to buy anything around there. I mean, you look around there; it's not a glamorous area, but it's expensive. You know, to buy a place there is expensive, and these families come in and they share. I don't know how they do it, but they share costs between themselves as a family. I believe. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, put 20 in a house.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, they tend to have big families as well. I'm not. Yeah, I know John Cleese, actually the comedian John Cleese, he said this a while ago and got pilloried for it. Um,
Just like I'm going to be.
yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm trying to, I wouldn't say defend what's going on. I can understand people, yeah, suddenly you're not going to turn around and become, what, how you doing, Gov? Are you all right, mate? You know, that sort of thing. Um, although sometimes you do hear some of the youngsters have somehow got a East London slang or style in their native languages. The young people seem to have a slightly different accent that is an amalgamation of probably traditional East London coupled with some Jamaican or Caribbean
Yeah,
coupled with coupled
that,
with um with yeah Asian. It's a very strange accent some of them have, and it's interesting. And yes, a lot of the youngsters, despite what you hear, do have a culture. They will listen to what we might say British music. It depends what you, yeah, but it's not going to be Chas and Dave, for example. It's not going to be, yeah, the Cockney songs. My old man's a dustman. He wears the, yeah, rolled out the barrel, etc. Um, I don't know how you can say insist. Well, you're going to sing these songs, or you're going to like
you
this.
can't you can't insist that they sing the songs, but
Mm.
you can try and protect where they are.
Yeah, I
So
mean.
If they wanted to sing them, they could.
yeah, I mean, um, it is the thing. Yes, maybe you could have a a community centre where people once a week or twice a week can go and do these. It would probably be half empty or not hardly anyone there at all. Like you said, communities decide themselves what they want. You can't,
Well,
you
no,
can't,
that's not true. That's
yeah,
not true. Communities will decide for themselves what they want.
yeah,
If you flood a community
mm,
with a 51%
no, yeah, that is it. Yeah,
culture from somewhere else,
mm.
that isn't doing what the community wanted. That
Not
is
really,
that
yeah,
is that is that is forcing something on the community,
mm,
whether it be a good or a bad thing. I don't really care.
yeah,
Without taking without taking the community into consideration.
yeah. I mean, but it's not been okay. From that, you could look at other things. It's not been a deliberate move by anyone to eradicate anything. It's happened by osmosis. It's happened over time. And
Because it hasn't been controlled.
well, that is it.
Like
I
the
mean,
guy said, like the guy said, he said it's like going home from home.
mm,
90% of the people in the area are from the same city
yeah,
in Bangladesh.
mm,
He
yeah,
said it's like going home from home.
yeah. It's
You know,
yeah. I mean, okay, we have experience of living in another country. We haven't tried to. I mean, there's not enough of us live in Brazil to do it, but we've not tried to make our own little Britain in Brazil. In fact, my wife, who lived in Britain for 13 years, she's probably more pro-British and got more British bits and pieces around the house than I have. Yeah. The only thing I've got is a flag somewhere that I hang out on the balcony. That's an English flag, flag of St. George with the footballs on. Other than that, I don't. Yeah. Yes, but these people, they go there. I mean, it's like you say. I mean, you see the East London Mosque. There's not any harm in that. There are still Christian churches in the area. Can't think where there's a synagogue around there now. Probably is. Um, yeah, I mean, the mosque is quite something. I don't know if it's been in any trouble over anything. I can't think of anything where it's been open news. But yes, you can see there's a school next to it. Um, now, talking about faith schools, I can't comment because I went to a faith school. I went to a Catholic school. Yeah, that okay. Might have taught British values there. Um,
well, the school we're on about, the primary school, is a community primary school.
yeah.
It's not a faith school as such,
Well, yeah, okay, but yeah, a
but it
separate,
does have a but it does have a heavy slant
yeah,
on Bangladeshi people.
mm,
The headmaster says, it's multicultural,
mm,
but when you got 243 kids and 225 are Bangladeshi,
yeah,
you got four of one and two of the other and one of one and one of one
yeah.
and one of one
Well,
different.
melting point,
So
yeah,
it is multicultural, but it's
yeah,
not all that multicultural, if you know what
yeah.
I mean.
I mean, the other side of it is that it's performing well. It's educating the kids.
I had to put that into my little preamble
Yeah, and
because you can't if the school's doing its job, you can't complain about the school.
no,
It wasn't actually the school that I've just brought the school into it
yeah,
because it had an interesting statistic.
yeah,
You know
that,
that all of the kids
mm,
don't speak English as a first language.
yeah. I mean, there's another school in the area which is down near one of the Jack the Ripper's victim sites. That's also doing well in Ofsted, which does look like it's a more okay. I'm going to use it British traditional school as well. That's you have outside. Good Ofsted report. So evidently, yeah, they're producing now. I can't imagine that's probably is very multicultural as well. Um, it's it is it's a problem. I mean, these people are, as you said, they run go there, they run businesses. Um, they, you look at the buildings, the legitimate businesses. There's all sorts of fashion businesses, yeah, okay, with the traditional clothes, there's the food places. I mean, but even the print shops or wherever the copy or whatever is, it's all in it's all Bangladeshi or another language outside in English as well, obviously. Um, Again, yes, I know what you mean. The main thrust: how do you protect a culture in an area that's sorry, that's losing its identity by default, or what we consider a traditional identity.
Yeah.
Um, where you do walk around, and I mean, yes, it's always been a rough area like I like, that's considered, and you go down there and you can see, I'm not joking, I used to drive around at night because I used to work nights. You do see the drug dealers, you see them openly walking around, you do see prostitutes, you do see all manner of dregs. Now, I'm not saying that's reflective of the ordinary people that live there. Yeah. Um, and you do see police about. But they're not walking up and down the beat or doing it. They're all in cars. Yeah. And whether or not they'd intervene in any of these illegal activities or not, I don't know. You'd have to look at the
Yeah.
police statistics for that. I live here now. I don't live in the area. I'm not that interested at that school because there's nothing else. Yeah, it to a point that's not my business. But yeah, actually, when you're talking about tradition, it's sort of that's the one thing that's probably kept it going. That's probably been in tradition. It's like you say, the craze came from there. Um, they were gangsters, yeah, hoodlums who ran rackets and everything else. So, um, yeah, it can be argued that yeah, it's kept up its tradition of crime. So, yeah, I in answer to your question, what you're saying, I don't know what the answer is. Okay, you can have a minister of culture or cultural preservation. I doubt whether the local authority is that interested in using a budget to try and
There you go.
keep
There you are.
something going that they don't actually believe would have much of an uptake. Um, I mean, okay, if we lived in the area, we might go to a traditional pub, sit down and enjoy a traditional English pint. Um, Again, because of probably the faith in the area. I don't know. I don't know. These pubs keep going. Well, probably they do have a catchment that comes in. As I say, the Blind Beggar is famous for different things. Another thing, there are a couple of traditional bars a bit further east down there as well, down that road, I think. Um, so it's not totally disappearing, but it's like you say. But I think I'm going to be quite honest. I think the actual area, if you looked on a map of the Whitechapel area, is a relatively small area with a lot of people in it, and has always been densely populated. I don't know. Somebody might correct me there. I'm thinking off the top of my head, just having driven down there and looked at recently on Google Maps. Um, yeah, it's a difficult one. How do you preserve your cultural references to people that aren't interested, and the people in the local area who
But
are
we
the
don't know. No, no, that's not true, is it? How do you protect your traditional culture? Full stop. For people who aren't interested,
mm,
are probably not the British people,
yeah.
right? So you're trying to they use the term here a lot here in Brazil.
Mm.
Every time that Carnival comes round
Yeah,
and like São João, like yesterday,
yeah,
and they say that they're rescuing their culture,
mm,
right? Even though each year that goes by, you listen to new songs of the same style.
yeah. I
You
understand
know,
that. Yeah,
the
right, right.
culture's always there. The culture is always there.
Mm,
Basically, the government is paying musicians to write songs in the
yeah,
same style,
mm,
but using different,
mm,
new songs,
yeah,
right? So, the British government could do something similar, I suppose, on those veins
mm.
of holding cultural events that are typically British.
But in order to do that in an area, you'd have to do that in it's like in the Whitechapel area, and
Yeah,
Um,
it might be that it's too late.
I think it is. If I'm being honest,
So what about other hotspots like Bradford and Leicester?
forget it. You'd be probably accused of all sorts of things there. I mean, I'm not. Younger people are sometimes interested. Educated younger people. I must say educated. Yeah, sometimes people are interested in things. It's like you say, but um, I teach about the area to younger Brazilians, and that's where I showed them the Google. And they asked me. They said, "Well, that's a funny." Well, they don't say they are a bit more aware than that, but yeah. What do you think about that teacher? Well, I don't. Um, because I cut the with yeah to get proving your point. There's nothing I can do about it. Um,
I think the British government, for example, the other day on Facebook,
mm,
I saw a post of some guys. They had a traction engine,
yeah,
right, which will take you back to the first roads being built or
yeah.
farm work, how farm work was done
Well, yeah,
in
industrial
the
industrial
UK.
revolution. Yeah, 17 late
And so when you
1700s.
get,
Yeah, yeah,
when you get things like that or old cars, the
yeah.
London to Brighton rally,
Mm,
right? So when you get old cars and things like that, and you have them done on a local scale,
mm,
that will draw attention from the uh, immigrants, if you like,
yeah.
least for them to, for least at least for them to know how we lived.
Well, um, at school, we when I was still at school, okay, when I was still at school, but yeah, they did. We had English lessons, or sorry, had history lessons, and even some of our English lessons was like say traditional. Whether or not you could actually encroach. Well, we used to learn English history in an English school, and that
That's
was
right.
across for everyone. Um, it this I mean, the trouble is the powers that be, certainly in London. I mean, the mayor downwards are trying to destroy what we would consider British history because it's inappropriate because it involved things that are not very nice, really. Um, but that's the things you should be addressing, how we've changed, how we have progressed. Um, I mean, case in point, I have a daughter who was born in the UK. Is yeah, she's now a teenager. She's out working now and everything else. Um, she has references to things in England, and she does ask me sometimes. And there's books here that she can look at. She never does, but she's also online. She looks at things about England, what she remembers. She probably still has some traditions without realizing it are British because of inflected from me. Um, Again, the other reference is the Brazilian from her mother. Um, she speaks, as you know, she's fluent in both languages. She can swap just like that. Um, Now, there's probably these kids that can do that. Now, um, are they going to be interested? Now, there is actually a lot of interest with these people. You go places and they're interested in the royal family, for instance. Yeah, there is interest with these people in the royal family, strangely enough. Um, and particularly William and Kate. A lot of these want to
They're
preserve.
the pop ones at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. I don't, I don't know if that's an angle that they can do. I mean, it's like you say, maybe they've got this. Well, they call it the library stroke learning education learning center. Maybe have displays in there. Um, Again, would somebody who's yeah, I do admit living even living there, who could have been born there, but they live in a Bangladeshi household. What do old pictures mean to them? So you could put old pictures of the area and everything else, and yeah, what would it mean to them? Reference. I mean, I've moved to Recife, sorry, yeah, Recife, Brazil, and I like looking at old pictures of Recife because I reference it from what I know being around. Um, Maybe that's not how these other people think. Yeah, I mean. you do look around the area. It's not a glamorous area, as I said. It's not exactly on the touristy trail.
Well,
The only people that go, yeah,
that's the beauty of it.
yeah,
That's the
um,
beauty of it. It's traditional, hard-working,
mm,
basic,
yeah,
lower class. How the people used to live.
yeah. I mean,
Uh, you know,
I mean, the
it,
only people I know who go there voluntary are the people just visiting Bucks Row, where the first Ripper victim was
yeah.
killed. Yeah, that's the only referencing I.
That's if they don't have a fruit stall next to it.
Well, I know it doesn't. It wouldn't down this thing. It's just right by the back entrance to the modern back entrance to the station. But yeah, um, yeah, it wouldn't. Believe me, you wouldn't be able to fit anything down there. But there's the old school. There's the old school still there, which is a contemporary building, or the building that was there at the time, about the only one that